Hi, everybody. This is Video Game Saturdays Plus, and we wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving first and foremost. I have Eric and Greg here with me, and today we are going to talk about Dragon Ball Super, the Broly movie. Eric, what do we got going on?
We're just gonna go into a kind of a review of how we all thought the Broly movie was, and also go into depths about comparison between the story between the original movie and how the new take of Broly essentially came about, animation style, everything like that, the development of characters, and pretty much what we thought between the original movie and this one.
Nice. All right, I think we're all ready. Greg, you ready?
Absolutely.
All right, Eric, what are we starting off then with?
Okay, so pretty much as a whole, the story pretty much essentially is the same. They find out another Saiyan is alive, pretty much, and the Saiyan is named Broly. He's pretty much essentially wants to get revenge on Vegeta for what his father did to him and to Broly and his father long ago.
And I like the fact that this is kind of keeping it with the same tradition as the original Broly movie, but we definitely see, in terms of the backstory, a much more developed character. And I thought that was one of the most impressive things they did with Broly as a character.
Well, yeah, of course. So there is a good reason why now Paragus and Broly are doing what they're doing and how they've come to encounter, I guess, Goku and Vegeta. So it's a much different tone than the original Broly movie.
But I don't understand, Greg. I mean, the crying baby made perfect sense to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd kill some people, too, if some baby was crying in front of me. But, now there's more rationale. We don't have to just say that simple thing of there's a baby cried, and that's why I want to kill someone.
That's true. Eric, what did you think about the new origin of Broly's anger?
I found it a lot more better. It's a lot more character development. They gave pretty much Broly a backstory. And essentially, like how you and Greg said, it pretty much essentially, it's not just Broly's really super mad at Goku, pretty much for essentially crying for a number of hours, and pretty much essentially he hates Goku. This new story gives him a backstory. The new story gives him a backstory. Pretty much essentially gives him like a purpose, gives him reason for why is he essentially angry at Vegeta. And then, of course, just Goku's there in the background.
That's what I was going to say, too, is that it's interesting that Broly doesn't really want anything to do with Goku. He's more about going after Vegeta because of what King Vegeta did in this situation.
I like that, too. And I think what was really compelling as well was that you felt more of a humanization of Broly because, his little interaction with that little animal on Vampa, I think, is that where they're from?
Yeah.
And just having that kind of like almost anti-hero, like he's just a kid. He's just somebody that wants to be good and is happy, but his father kind of takes this away because Paragus is so fueled with the revenge plot.
Paragus essentially takes his innocence away from Broly and just pretty much essentially just corrupts him in a sense of the word, pretty much to want to kill Vegeta.
Yeah, kind of in a way, Broly didn't really have a child. He's been so focused on fighting and making sure he exacts revenge for Paragus, for his own thing, that he hasn't really had a chance. And so when he finally does befriend a monster on the planet, and it's taken away so quickly, I think that really affected his psyche at that point.
Yeah, agreed. And I really enjoyed this take. And again, it was really great story writing. One of my favorite that I've seen in this series. So the other thing, guys, that I also noticed was I think most of you will agree, I loved the animation for the most part. We'll go into detail on what's not the best, but I really enjoyed the animation style that they did.
I agree. I completely agree. I think the animation is really good, and I know Eric's gonna agree with me on this part, but specifically the fight between Vegeta and Broly was really high quality animation. And honestly, if all of Dragon Ball Super could be drawn that well by the same artists and animators, I think it'd be great. I think also the other point that I want to bring up is that during the fight with Goku, I was not a fan of the animation. It really looked like it was Dragon Ball Fighters, but
that 3D was kind of funky.
Yeah, exactly. And the 3D was just, it wasn't bad, but it just didn't look that high quality to me. And so I wish they would have just kept the specific animation between the fight between Vegeta and Broly, and just kind of keep it throughout the movie.
I do. I essentially also agree with that as well. The fight between Vegeta and Broly was it was very fluent. It was very smooth with the texture and everything like that. I really don't understand why with Goku got into the fight, and then essentially also when Goku and Vegeta fought Broly for a bit before they went to Gogeta, that they felt like they needed a 3D style type of, like in the video games. Pretty much like essentially it looked like the Dragon Ball Budokai.
Oh, Budokai. Okay.
Budokai, because they had the Budokai series had more of the 3D effects and everything like that.
That's true. And you know, one of the things that I did want to mention as well is I really didn't care about that first person part of the fight where they took Broly's perspective in first person against Goku. I didn't really care for it. I know some people did like that, but to me, on top of the 3D, that one wasn't really that great. But I think overall, you know, especially when they get into the fight with Gogeta, that they have a lot of great animation drawings. It's just, like I said, some of the best I've seen in a while in the Dragon Ball series.
So next, pretty much, is this one of your guys' favorite Dragon Ball movie?
I think for me, without question, this is the best Dragon Ball movie. And I think we always think as we watch this about the original Broly movies, which, you know, they were good, I guess. But I think that thinking of what it is to now, the storytelling, the animation, just everything overall, I thought this was by far the best movie I've ever seen in the Dragon Ball universe.
And I know for a fact, Greg, you have a very high opinion between comparing the Dragon Ball Z series to the Dragon Ball Super series, which I had my own opinion how Goku was portrayed between Z and even when you really think about between Dragon Ball Z and GT compared to Super, but of course that'll be another discussion for another time. But you know, quick rundown of how you felt between, also how they treated the storylines between each the Z and Super.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, in terms of in terms of this movie in the scope of other movies, I do think this one is a really high quality movie. It's been a while since I've seen the Dragon Ball movie. I'm gonna take it all the way back to Dragon Ball. The one with I don't even remember what it's called, but the one with Android 8. I really enjoyed that movie, so it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint whether this is better. It's definitely among the top, probably the top two from what I can remember. And so, very high quality movie. I actually think that Akira Toriyama writes movies, at least in this specific situation with Super. This movie was better than the whole series. And Eric's right, I have a particular opinion about Dragon Ball Super and how it, to me, ruins Goku's character. But again, another story. And so this, in the scope of Super, is the best writing that I've had. It's more focused. Everything is just better about the animation. Everything is better about it.
And what really resonates for me, too, is just what they did to Broly's character. And I really hope he doesn't take a backseat when they actually do more Super episodes, if that's something that they actually do. But his character is just so great in terms of how he is as a human being, as he's a character. I mean, this is not just the meathead that wanted to beat up Goku just because he was crying as a baby. This was somebody that went through a journey to be the person that he is and is kind of sacrificing his youth and innocence because of the name of revenge. So I just really felt for this character. I didn't want him to die. That was actually one of the things when I watched the movie that I didn't want to have happen.
I think all of us didn't want him to die.
Right, versus what we see in the other Broly movies from the originals with this, let's just get him and kill him because he's just this overpowered meathead to be a conflict for the characters rather than an actual story.
And to that point, like, I really do appreciate his development. I mean, I don't even remember their names, but the kind of the alternate characters as well that helped him kind of remind him of his humanity, or it's not his humanity, his Saiyan. It sounds like sanity, but I don't mean that. But you know, those other characters help bring him back and be like, hey, you know, you can't have a normal life, and kind of helped him kind of develop his character through. And I think that was also really good as well, having those alternate characters.
And also, I will say that I somewhat agree with you, Greg, that like the storyline and everything between Z and Super, how they portrayed Goku. Like I said, I won't go into much deep depth into this. Maybe in the next video we do on Dragon Ball. But I don't like how they portrayed Goku. Pretty much, essentially, he's just getting strong. He's a meathead, where I feel like in Dragon Ball Z series that he was actually wanting to be like a hero. He was a hero that, you know, was just fighting for good and everything like that. And in the Super series, like I said, I'm not trying to get too much heavy conversation with that pretty much, you know, he was just trying to get stronger and he wanted to beat everyone.
Yeah, I think so. I think that also part of it is, that I also noticed was there's still little, I guess you'd call them crumb trails of that in terms of the Super writing in this as well, because I mean the focus of Super is Goku, right? Everything has to go run through Goku except for the specific timeline where Trunks beats what's his name, Zamasu. And here, I don't know if you guys noticed, but as soon as Goku entered the battle, Vegeta, we didn't really see him besides the transformation to Gogeta. He just kind of stood back, and I thought that was very unlike his character, where Goku's like, okay, it's my turn, and Vegeta's like, all right, whatever. And I didn't like that myself.
And I think that that's what we've seen through Super development-wise onto this movie is Vegeta's development as a character. And his driving force has always been to be better than Goku and to be this certain Saiyan and never be pushed over. But I think kind of like it's almost like a callback to the Buu saga where it ended and he accepted Goku as the superior. And he's just kind of grown so much as a character. And I think here you really see that in the Broly movie as he has no problem stepping back and being able to assist. And again, they still do the nod when they're about to fuse and he just says, no, I don't want to fuse. I don't care. I'd rather die by Broly's hand. So you do see that true Vegeta characterization, but I think what's clear is his character has definitely grown up and it's come full circle, especially in this movie.
Yeah, I don't like it. I like Vegeta being like, no, it's my turn. You get a turn when I tell you to get a turn.
Well, I also think that Vegeta's character development in the Broly movie compared to the one in the original was a whole lot more better. Because you think, Greg, you think Vegeta, he's this like badass, wanting to fucking
very prideful,
throw on into very prideful, wanting to fight, saying he's pretty much not taking Goku for a back seat. Where in the original movie, second you see Broly like at full power, Vegeta's just like.
And that's true. I didn't like that about that one either.
He just like breaks. He's like, no, we can't do this. And now essentially this is not going to work. Where of course in this new portrayal of Broly that pretty much he says, I'm up for a fight. Let's go at it and everything like that. Even with the many transformations that of course that Dragon Ball Z has partaken in and everything like that. And also like I feel like that a lot of people did have said that the reason the GT series was not really that good of a series was for the fact that they mainly just concentrated on Goku. Everyone took a back seat to Goku.
It's Goku time, GT.
And essentially, pretty much like Greg mentioned, that Super pretty much, other than Trunks defeating Zamasu, and I really feel that Goku the transformation to Vegeta, it was Vegeta, wasn't it?
In that series, yeah, Vegeta.
Yeah, that they should have killed him like right there and there, but pretty much that Dragon Ball Super is just essentially Goku time.
Well, I think overall, I think what was clear about this movie is that they're definitely in the right direction in terms of storytelling, and I can easily say, in terms of comparing old to new, that the new Broly movie is definitely by far better than the originals.
Yep, and I can agree. I will say also that I did really like some, even though Akira Toriyama's kind of been retconning everything, I do appreciate the nods that he did to the older movie or even just the older series even, through having the same fusion when they try fusing and they get fat Gogeta first and they get really thin Vegeta or Gogeta. I really enjoyed those moments, and I think that I really do enjoy some of those callbacks. Or at the end of the movie where he's like, you can call me Kakarot.
Oh, I love that too, yeah.
Going back to the old movies, I really enjoy those specific parts. So
it seems like Goku's kind of like pretty much like actually accepting his like Saiyan heritage and everything like that. Yeah. Other than for the fact that, beforehand he was just like, what's a Saiyan? I'm a Saiyan, like, essentially he's accepting now the role that he has in right now.
I will say also one other thing. One of the things, I don't know if this runs through spoilers, but I really enjoyed.
Let's just say that this is a spoiler section and everything like that. We're not trying to spoil anything, but if you cover,
we'll put it in the title head.
Yeah.
But I love the battle with Gogeta at the end, but they really overpower him. So in a way, for me, it was a little anticlimactic because once they fused into Gogeta, it was the fight was done. Like you saw the fight, it was just complete. Broly was completely overmatched. And
when he turned blue specifically.
When he turned blue, he was just, that was it.
Yeah.
And so that was the only thing that was a little anticlimactic once that happened, but I enjoyed it.
And then I guess the last thing that I'll mention on this is that aside from being a fantastic movie that I will definitely grade highly, all the cool transformations, seeing Gogeta power up with his base to Super Saiyan to Blue and seeing all the reality crushing things that they did, I just really liked it. And again, it's clear to me that this movie was fantastic. And personally, it's one of the best movies I've seen. So I highly recommend it without question.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing too as well. I highly recommend it as well. Just the storytelling is much better than what I've seen through Super. The humor when Frieza kills Paragus and just acts like that was amazing. Like,
that was so funny.
I really enjoyed those moments within it. Again, just like you said, Brian, the transformations. I really enjoy the animation for the most part, and I think the seeing also a new transform, not quote unquote new. I mean, it's new, but Vegeta turned into Super Saiyan Red. I thought that was really cool. Or Super Saiyan God. And so overall, again, I would recommend it as well.
Yes, definitely. I would also recommend this movie to anyone that likes the Dragon Ball Z series, anyone who likes Dragon Ball, because it is definitely a different take on the whole storyline of Broly, more character development, the animation. While some parts, of course, we can all say we don't agree with, but essentially we all agree that animation is fluent and everything like that. And I'm going to be very interested to see where they take the story of Goku and Vegeta next.
Yeah, this was the best thing to come out of Super, in my opinion.
I like it. I agree. And who cares what the power scalers will say? I don't care. It was a fun movie to enjoy. So that's about the wrap up for this conversation, guys. Thank you so much for hearing us and talking with us. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. We'll bring more in terms of Dragon Ball Z and Super and regular Dragon Ball, because there's a lot that we have to talk about. Alrighty, guys, have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on Video Game Saturdays Plus.